used in these sentences, or in other words, we cannot make sentences without these parts of speech. For example, we can't make a sentence without a verb or sometimes without a noun. So these things are very important. So dear learners, a word may fall into any of 7 functional classes according to the work it does. The 7 classes are noun, pronoun, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, and conjunctions. Occasionally, a word is used without any grammatical force. It is then called an interjection. The 7 functional classes and the interjection together form the 8 parts of speech. Here is something very interesting. In these 8 parts of speech, we haven't discussed the article the or ANN.
And why is that?
Why? I don't know. But the thing is, really, you see, it is so important. Whenever you want to make a sentence, for example, this is a book, I'm using a. Okay, this is an orange, an. And where is the book, which I gave you, the book? Now, you ask the question, why?
Yeah.
So the answer is very interesting. English, when it was developing, it used Latin as a model.
Right.
And in those days, Latin and Greek, they were classical languages. So when English grammar was developing, people developed English grammar on Latin. And in Latin, since article not is a part of speech, there are 8 parts of speech. So in English, they've got 8 parts of speech. How
Right.
natural.
That Latin, we can say, is the ancestor of basic English language.
Yes, it has given a lot of vocabulary to English, and unluckily, a lot of grammatical constructions in the past. But now, with the passage of time, like English has been changing, and it has changed a lot. If you compare English today with English that was used in, let's say, 9th century, 10th century, there were so many strange endings of words, and it was simply because of the effect of Latin. But now the things are changing, and English people have started feeling that like it is their language, they should speak English, not by modeling it on Latin.
But that is the fact that English and Latin have got some interlinked roots.
Not root, this is how they thought, but that is wrong.
That is wrong, right.
So first of all, we'll discuss noun. If we look at the word noun, we will come to know that it has been derived from the Latin word nomen,
Right.
which means name. And some of you might be thinking about the Urdu word for that. What is that? Name in Urdu?
For noun? Is
No, name, what we call in Urdu?
Naam.
Naam, good. And in Punjabi it is?
Na.
Na. And in Pashto it is Noom.
No.
Something very interesting, you see, all these words in 4 to 5 languages, and I think in some of the northern languages like Shina Brushiski, maybe one of them, it makes use of the word that is maybe Nom. Starting with na sound, and
The
in the
sound
middle
is
there's
there.
vowel.
The basic sound is
three,
there.
all 3 sounds, na, and ma. So naam or name or noom or nom. So they've got some sort of similarities. I don't know why, but it is a name of a person or a thing or a place.
Right.
Right, dear students, a noun is the name of a person or thing, and you are seeing a passage on the screen. And in this passage, there are some italicized words. These are all noun. It was perhaps a year after his marriage that Sajid was awakened late one night by the sound of a horse galloping on the road, followed by a loud knocking at the door. So here you can see that all these words which have been italicized, they are nouns. And you can simply, you can ask yourself the definition of noun, you will get the answer from the passage. The term thing, as far as it is concerned in the definition, it must take it must include the things like a place, for example, London, Multan, Leicester, L-I-C-E-S-T-O-R. People might pronounce it Leicester, that is Leicester, France. It may include, for example, a quality, for example, truth, happiness, and it may include an action, for example, murder, knocking. Noun is a very important part of a sentence in each language. Masood plucks a flower. So here Masood is a noun. Noun has got different types. We can discuss these nouns from different angles. For example, we can call them proper nouns, common nouns. For example, girl is a common noun, and
Rizwana
is a proper noun. City is a common noun, and Lahore is a proper noun.
Then the sentence you just said, Masood
plucks a flower. So in this sentence, Masood is a proper noun and a flower is
a common noun.
Common noun. But if we say rose,
Yeah,
that is
that's a
proper
proper
noun.
Particular name is proper noun.
Name is proper noun.
Just a
definitely.
name is noun.
Exactly, name of anything. Nouns can be also like they can be dealt with from other angles too. For example, we call them abstract nouns
Yeah.
and concrete nouns. For example, happiness I can't touch, I can see, but I can feel. That is an abstract noun. But book is a concrete noun. Then we've got countable nouns and uncountable nouns. It is something very interesting if you compare different languages. For example, I say in English, my hair is black.
Yeah.
Your hair is silky.
Yeah.
But in Urdu, what do we say? My hairs are. So it means in English it is not countable. In English we use hair as. In Urdu it is not countable. In English it is countable. So we say my hair is. But suppose if I had some hairs on my palm, on my shoulder, I can say, well, I can see there are 3 hairs on my shoulder.
Right.
Then they
it
will be
is
counted.
countable.
Same is the case with the words like bread. In Pakistani society, we people eat naan or roti or chapati. If we go to naan buy shop, we say, we want to buy naan, we'll say, give me 2, 3, 4 naan or roti. We add 2, 3, 4. It means bread is countable. But in English society, it is uncountable. They would say, give me some bread.
Right.
So these nouns vary from culture to culture, from language to language. Right, dear learners, now we'll move from nouns to verbs.
Well, about verbs, I would like to ask you something. When I was so young in my school, we used to learn a statement, a mathematical equation. Action plus tense equals to verb. That statement is still ambiguous in my mind. Kindly explain that.
Verbs, if you look at definition of verb basically is used to denote an action.
Right.
So plus tense. Verb in English also denotes action. For example, if I say I go and then I say I went, there's a marked difference.
The tense changed.
I'm using action, that is verb, with the help of verb go. At the same time, I'm changing the tense. When I say I go, I'm using present tense. But when I say I went, I'll be using the past tense. And if I want to say something in future, I'll add will. So I'll say I will or I shall go.
So a verb always needs a tense with it.
Yes. Yes.
Any form of tense with it.
In English. In some languages, for example, in Chinese, verb does not stand for tense or time. It doesn't change its shape. It is used only for the sake of action. For example, in Chinese, they say, I eat today, I eat yesterday, I eat tomorrow.
Well, thank God Chinese is not the universal language. That is very difficult.
You're right.
Go on.
So a verb is a word that indicates being or doing on the part of the person. Being or doing. Now I would like to define the word verb for you people. Verb is a word that indicates being or doing on the part of the person or thing, denoted by the subject of the sentence. The word verb has too been derived from Latin word verbum, that means a word. Every sentence must contain a verb, expressed or understood, as part of the predicate. Predicate, I hope you know, when we analyze a sentence, it is basically analyzed into 2 different parts. One is subject, the other is predicate. For example, when I say the boys are writing a letter, so the boys is subject and writing a letter is predicate. So whatsoever comes after subject is called predicate. So every sentence must contain a verb as part of the predicate. In other words, a verb is the most important part of a sentence. Most verbs denote an action. For example, he went to home or home. Well, one of the common mistakes committed in Pakistan, he went to home is wrong. We must say he went home. Although after went or go, we must use to, but when we talk about home, we don't use to. Look at the comparison. I went to Lahore. They are going to college. They are going to the mosque, but they are going home, not to home. Second sentence, most people like dogs. In this sentence, like is a verb. The moon rises at 7. Here, rises is a verb. The postman brings letters. Here, brings is a verb. And you must keep in mind that a sentence is incomplete without a verb. And it's so important that sometimes we can simply make a sentence with just 1 or 2 words. For example, when I say come here, or if I say sit, that's also conveying the meaning. So it means verb is a very important, it's just like backbone of a sentence. We cannot avoid using this. We have talked about the verbs which state an action, for example, going, eating, drinking. Some verbs denote a state. For example, they seem happy and he is the culprit. Here you see is a main verb that usually is used as a helping verb or auxiliary, but here in the sentence he is the culprit or he is a doctor or he is a student, is being used as a main verb. This is also used for change of state. For example, the boy became an artist. Could you see the transition? A boy who was not an artist becoming an artist. Verbs often appear in compound forms. For example, they are walking. Here, walk is a main verb that is changing into ing form just because of the helping verb are, that is are. I do know this. Do and know. I'm using do know. It is not showing any sort of, let's say, change in action or tense, but simply it is emphasizing the fact that I know something. I do know. For example, do sit down. He had gone. Here, had is being used with the verb go, that must be in third form because of had. Were they missed? Again, were and missed. Question form. Because of were, it is in the third form. Will you have finished by 5 o'clock? No, this is interesting. Will have finished. It is about future, but future perfect, something that will be completed in some particular time in future. Will you have finished by 5 o'clock? The house had been sold. Again, had been, and sold or sell is a main verb here. In each sentence, these verbs make a group to convey the required message. It means if I drop any one of the verbs in a group, it will be considered a mistake. For example, Sana reading a book. Is it the right sentence? Do you believe it is right? I think that is wrong. What is missing, by the way? From here, the auxiliary verb is missing. Sana is writing a letter. We cannot drop is, otherwise it will be wrong. Now we'll move to the third part of speech, that is a pronoun. Right, it is a word used in place of a noun. If we look at the very shape of the word carefully, we will easily understand its function. The prefix pro means for or in place of something. So here pronoun means a word that is used in place of a noun. Why? Number one, to avoid repeating a noun. For example, as soon as my brother met his wife, he told her the news and they came to Islamabad. You just look at this sentence very carefully, you will understand the whole idea. As soon as my brother, so brother is a noun here, met his wife. I cannot say as soon as my brother met my brother's wife, so I would say his wife, then he told her, his wife, the news, and they, who they? My brother and his wife. So this is used to avoid repetition. If you try, I hope you can make many sentences like this. Number two, we mentioned persons or things without actually naming them. That is yours. That might be, let's say, a book. It might be an apple, anything. Nobody knows much about him. Nobody can be anybody. Everything was new. Everything. We cannot count the things, but simply talking about all of them in general, collectively, so everything was new. Only 4 of the members remained. All of them are pronouns. Now there are some types of pronouns which might be intimidating for Pakistani learners, but don't worry, they're quite easy. First of all, we'll discuss the reciprocal, what they call reciprocal, that is wrong, reciprocal pronouns. This is each other or one another. Here is some problem. In Pakistani grammar books, they say each other is used for two. For example, they each of them, or they helped each other. It means 2 of them. And Pakistani books, they suggest it should be one another for people more than 2. But today, modern English suggests that both of them are right. For example, we can say people should help each other instead of people should help one another. I mean, both are right, but we should not say each other is wrong. So this is called reciprocal pronoun. Second is possessive pronoun. That is my house, his house. So this sort of possession, that is called in Latin they call it genitive case. I'll use an easy term that is possessive, can be shown with the help of two different shapes. For example, using my, his, her. And the second is, for example, Ali's book. Now here apostrophe and S shows the possession. It means the book of Ali. So possessive noun is also very important. For example, my house, his book, their drama, or their possessions, their property. So it is important. Now moving to personal pronoun, I and we, first person singular, plural, second person you, and again plural you, and third person he, she, it, and plural is they. Then we've got distributive nouns like either, neither. I'll be giving you some examples which are used which are wrongly used in Pakistani society, especially by the students in examination hall. The last type is reflexive pronoun. Reflexive pronoun is a pronoun that is that reflects the subject. For example, I did it myself. I cannot say I did it my, or I did it me. I did it myself. She has injured herself. So reflexive pronoun is important in English as well. Now, looking at some of the mistakes committed by people in Pakistan, I remember when I was in BA, I had a statement that was to be corrected, which I could not. It was either of the possibilities are true, and I did not know what the mistake was. I asked some of my friends, and they said it was okay, it was misprint, but that was wrong. Now I understand that was wrong. Now look at the sentence. Neither of the boys is my cousin is the right thing. We cannot say neither of the boys are my cousin. Boys is plural, but this is not linked with boys. It is linked with neither. So we use neither for two persons or thing. In the similar fashion, either of the answers is correct. Not are, it should be is because of either. And again, either is used for two persons or thing. None or any. For example, none of the buses has gone. Here none means more than two. And he is one of the best poets, not poet. Then we've got an important part of speech, that is adjective. It is a word used to qualify a noun. Book. Here interesting is adjective and book is noun. Sparkling eyes, sparkling adjective, eyes noun. For is an adjective. And then you've got one more example. This bridge is unsafe. Unsafe is again adjective. So adjective add er or est to certain adjectives which have got one syllable. For example, tall, hard, fast, long. You can see all of